Welcome to the spring webinar with the product team, where we're going to be talking about what's new and what's upcoming on the ActiveProspect roadmap. Thanks everybody for being here today. I'm going to go over some logistics before we introduce everybody and get into the good stuff. And so just to orient you to this webinar, there's going to be a chat icon. Please put in general comments and interactions with the participants there. There is also a Q&A section where you can put your questions to ask the product team directly. We're either going to answer those in real time, but we also have a designated Q&A section at the end where we'll also get to them. This will be a recorded webinar, so you could send out the link tomorrow morning after we send it to your colleagues, or rewatch it again if you'd like to. There will be a few polls as well that will help us engage in the conversation. And then we are going to be posting some links into the chat. And so just a note on some of those links. If you are a contracted customer and you have a customer success manager, those links won't work for you. Instead, contact your CSM and work with them to update your contract and your account so that everything works seamlessly. If you need to reach out to them, there's actually a contact your CSM button in the billing section that will let you do that super quick. For everybody else on the call, the links will work for you and you can engage with them all you'd like. Okay. I'm Katie. I'm Katie Clark, the Director of Core Products here at ActiveProspect, and I'm really excited for us to be here today.
Awesome. I'm Nikki Baker. I'm the product owner on the growth team.
Hey everybody, I'm Christopher Williams. I'm the product manager for Trusted Forum.
And I am Christian Goss, the product manager for LeadsBridge.
Hey everyone, I'm Scott McKee, and I am the product manager for Lead Conduit. Back over to you, Katie.
Yeah, the dream team. Here we are. Okay, so our vision is to be the platform for consent-based marketing. If you don't know what consent-based marketing is, or CBM as sometimes we call it here at AP, it's the practice of only contacting consumers who have given their prior expressed written consent to be contacted. And so the objective being that only those active prospects make it into your sales funnel. And the AP platform really helps lead buyers, sellers, and anyone contacting leads to do a few major things. Manage your partners, ensure that your leads are compliant, prove and evaluate lead quality, and increase performance through campaign optimization. And we have 3 core products that are all available online right now that you can go use that help you do just that. Trusted Forum, Lead Conduit, and LeadsBridge. And so in this image, you're seeing all of them in the platform together. And so LeadsBridge up at the top integrates your major ad platforms with your CRM. You can think Facebook lead ads and Google, while also improving performance by pushing those conversion signals back to the ad platforms, helping you target your custom audiences. Lead Conduit enables lead buyers and sellers to streamline lead flows by making real-time decisions and filtering out unwanted leads, filtering and blocking unwanted leads while sending your high-quality leads and delivering those to your CRM or your dialer. Trusted Forum not only verifies and documents consent for TCPA compliance, but it also gives you insights, data points into what an experience of what the consumer actually did on that lead form. Individually, these are all really powerful tools, but they're really best used together in the platform and are really the only way to do consent-based marketing at scale. And so, like I mentioned at the beginning, we're all going to be talking about what's new, so what's come out recently, and what you can get excited about launching for the rest of the year. And you're going to hear from each of the product team members. But the high-level themes that each of us are going to be talking about today, there's 4 of them that you'll hear throughout and sort of woven through the conversation today. First one is activation, really helping lead buyers and sellers get to whatever goal they're trying to achieve faster. 2 is smarter controls for buyers and sellers. And the third one is improving performance through transparency. The 4th one being simplifying ad integration at scale. So enough of me, high level and logistics. Let's dive into the fun stuff. So let's have a look at the first part of the year and some launches that people might have missed. Kick us off, Christopher.
All right, happy to. So a really important step for this first year has been the launch of Trusted Form Insights as a self-serve feature. For the first time, users can actually go sign up directly online and start accessing rich lead data without needing to go through the whole sales process. This is a huge step forward towards making our tools more accessible, faster to adopt, and more simple for you to integrate into your day-to-day workflow. Insights data points can be used by lead buyers to evaluate leads using details like their IP address, their originating domain that aren't usually provided or aren't trustworthy leads that you purchase. If you look at your dashboard on the Trusted Form homepage, you'll see some aggregate values of key insights to help you find trends in your data that are really worth researching to find possible correlations to performance and eventually filter out or route your leads based on that. So next up, compliance is another factor that is super impactful to performance that you should all be paying attention to. And using Trusted Form Verify can help you to confirm that. Trusted Form Verify finds new consent languages that are used to generate your leads and gives you the opportunity to actually review them. Now, we all know presenting the right consent language is vital to compliance. So this is the primary way that you want to use to filter out leads that don't meet your standards. And we've heard your feedback about there being too many consent languages for you to review. And we're working now to group some of the similar ones together for you so that you only have to review one rather than thousands. So the first step towards this was actually grouping the ones where the consent languages would be the same except for the fact that the consumer's phone number or email changes. So using placeholders, we're actually now able to group those together so that you can actually approve or reject all of those consent languages in one step. So this saves you the trouble of having to deal with all the unnecessary noise of redundant variations that might pop up in your consent language manager. So most of the time we're able to intelligently find this data, but to help us out and make it a little more simple, we actually made it possible for publishers to tag where the consumer's phone number and email are. Doing so improves the ability to confirm that the expected lead data actually matches what's in the certificate so that you're confident you were sent the right lead. And this means that our lead matching feature will be more accurate than before and that there's a clear path to fight against those false negatives. Now, so far, I've been only talking about changes that have really been centered around doing things programmatically, but sometimes you actually have to look at a certificate, watch the session replay, and really get a feel for what's happening, right? So we made that easier too. Now we've enabled enhancements that allow all customers to actually navigate to specific moments and quickly get to the events you want to see. So that saves you time from when you previously had to sit there and watch an entire replay just to catch a brief moment that you wanted to actually see. You can just click where it is in the timeline that you want to go, and you'll be able to watch that exactly. So one last thing that I'll note, which is super exciting, is a new feature that actually helps prevent a common case of fraud by using a trusted form certificate to find leads created by bots. And this bot detection feature is actually available now in the certificate API as well as in Lead Conduit. And since I'm speaking about Lead Conduit, I'll pass it on to Scott to tell you some of the cool stuff going on there.
Thanks, Christopher. It's all super exciting stuff. Yes, so we have added bot detection to our trusted form integration in Lead Conduit. And it works the same way you would add any other trusted form insight into your flow. Simply go to the steps page of your flow, add a trusted form add-on step, and it will walk you through all the next steps from there. We've also found that we've got some other features, such as an obscenity filter, which is a free tool to help make sure that you aren't taking in any leads that have any obscene values in their fields. And we've also added the ability to revert your flow to a previous state in case you make a mistake while editing it. I know I've made a ton of those mistakes myself, so that one's been really helpful for me. Some other small quality of life improvements we've been trying to focus on are sort of based around the functionality of the ping and Lead Conduit. One of these is the ability to make an API call to an external service to capture a price for a lead and then return that price to your vendor if you're in a real-time bidding environment. If the service doesn't return a price, but returns a reason, something like no price because this is out of our service area, then we can help you send that back to your vendor as well so that they kind of understand why you're not bidding on certain leads. In that same vein, one of the big things we've heard for years, honestly, here is that people want to make suppression list easier to use on the ping. So a lot of lead vendors out there, they want a separate endpoint from the one they submit full lead data to. And they want that endpoint to be called to see if a lead is a dupe before they send the full lead data over to the buyer. And this helps them make sure they are fully monetizing the lead and finding the right buyer for it. And they also want to make sure that that buyer can't access the PII of a lead that was rejected on the ping. So we've heard a lot of different terms over the years to refer to this process, and they kind of change between verticals, dupe check, pre-ping, ping, all kinds of stuff. But we wanted to let folks know that we do support this functionality for customers who utilize lead conduit and suppression lists. And this actually leads us to our first poll. We're really just curious if you are currently checking or allowing your vendor to check and see if a lead is a duplicate before you submit it to your buyer. So we'll put that poll out now. And if you don't know anything about suppression list, basically it allows you to instantly check an incoming lead against any list you have, such as a dupe list, do not call list, fraud list, whatever list you got. And you can make real-time decisions on it. When checking suppression list on the ping, we empower buyers to make sure that they are not accepting duplicates, while at the same time not exposing the PII of those leads on the ping to that buyer until they accept the lead on the post. So if you got a second, go take a look at that poll now and give us your answer.
And while that poll's running, I'll also add in there that coming up in Q2, we're going to be making suppression list available for all of our non-contracted customers as well. So everyone's going to be able to take advantage of this new feature.
Yeah, thanks, Nikki. That's super exciting to hear. And on that note, one other really cool thing we recently released is lead conduit to non-contracted customers. So customers can easily sign up right now to try out lead conduit if they are not already a subscriber to it. So we're going to put that link in the chat right now. And the last thing I wanted to mention, and I know I'm kind of cheating here because we're talking about features we've released, but if you are a paid lead conduit user right now and you go into your flows, you'll be able to see a banner that's going to ask you if you want to see the new redesign of lead conduit flows. So this is a redesign that we're working on. It's not fully released yet. You can see what your flows look like in the new view, but you can't edit them yet. But this is really going to be great for those folks who have like huge flows with like hundreds of steps in them, because we know those have been sort of hard to load and kind of slow to load sometimes. So we've got a redesign that's a lot cleaner of an experience and also just, keeps the platform from running slow at all. On that banner to view the new design, there's also a link to leave feedback. Please leave any feedback you have on this new design. Good, bad, in between, whatever. This is still in progress, so we want to work with you guys to build the best experience we can. But with that being said, Lead Conduit's actually not the only ActiveProspect product that's had a redesign. So Christian, what can you tell us about that?
Thank you, Scott. That looks awesome.
Hey guys, we forgot about the poll. We're just cruising right along.
Oh my, yes. So this is actually interesting. Yeah, you caught me there. Thanks. We got an interesting mix. We're like 50-50 on folks who, want to receive duplicates and those who, either are already doing it or don't know how. So specifically for the folks that do not know how, reach out to us. If you have a CSM or anything like that, we can contact and work with you. If you want to get set up with Lead Conduit with that link we shared earlier, you can go ahead and take advantage of that. Yeah, we're here to help you guys start using that feature. It is available right now.
Just as a really quick note, if somebody actually wants to receive those duplicate leads, I would love to hear why. So feel free to paste that chat too.
I really want that information too. Yeah.
And I mean, this is a really exciting check, right? So you could basically work with your sellers as a buyer to check to see if somebody is a duplicate on a list without passing any of the lead data. So it's actually pretty cool and something that we would want people to adopt. Oh, we're seeing the poll change in real time. Here we go. So people are realizing, no, I don't want duplicate leads. So it's a really cool feature, and you don't have to pass any of the PII. It's very secure because you're using suppression list and Lead Conduit together. It really does make that experience really secure for checking for duplicates on the ping. we'll reach out to those no duplicate lead people. Okay, Christian, back to you about the redesign.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, we've also been super busy on the leads bridge side. We're really excited about a bunch of stuff that's coming out. But we've been working over the past several months to redesign the leads bridge user interface. This user interface that people have grown accustomed to over the years really was launched almost 10 years ago. And so it was in need of a refresh. And we've been working to basically make it look more and feel more like ActiveProspect as one of the family. It includes things like speed improvements and some other cool things as well. But we are in the process of rolling that out to all of the paid leads bridge users right now. So if you haven't seen it yet, give it a little bit of time and you'll start to see a banner at the top of your screen where you can opt in to experience it. But that's not the only thing that we've been working on, right? We've had customers with us for a really long time, and we have since then built out new versions of our bridge builder as well with additional functionality. So one of the things that we have also launched is for those individuals that have old bridges, now in the settings in that little menu for options, you can actually see migrate bridge. And what that does is it takes that old bridge and it brings it into the modern bridge builder so that you can experience all of the new things that we're building on top of our bridge builder. And so talking about things that we've been building, we've also been adding a lot of integrations, especially with our social ad platforms. So we've been adding with Snapchat. We've worked hand in hand with them and with their engineering team. We've gotten Snapchat lead gen added into LeadsBridge. We've added custom audiences as well with Snapchat. We've worked with Pinterest to add audiences as well as conversions. We've worked with Google on offline conversions as well as enhanced conversions. And then we've also been working with LinkedIn, and we've become official partners with LinkedIn, which gives us deeper access with the LinkedIn team, more resources, and more connection to their engineering team so that we can deliver better support and better functionality for you guys. But in addition to the ad platforms and our partners and other integrations, we're also working on integrations internally, like our integration with Lead Conduit, which we will talk about as well. But the Lead Conduit integration is something that allows you to enhance your social leads and basically leads that you're getting from Meta, from Snapchat, from all of these sources can now be passed over to Lead Conduit, where you can then enhance those leads, route them to more destinations, and get even more value from the product family here at ActiveProspect. And so talking about all of these things, I'm going to pass it over to Nikki to also talk a little bit more about some stuff that we're doing for our sellers.
Yeah, thanks. There's a lot that's going on in Q1. But before we jump into Q2, I do want to highlight one more thing for our sellers that happened in Q1. And I'll start with a question, and that'll lead to our next poll. So we're wondering, have you confirmed ownership of your domains that are generating trusted form certificates? And while we get started with that poll, I wanted to call out that if you haven't yet confirmed ownership of all your domains because you were trying to confirm ownership of subdomains, we've now made that really easy and simple to do. So you can go in and individually add and confirm ownership of subdomains. Or if you're like, hey, I have a bunch of subdomains that I want to verify, that's going to be a pain. You can now go in and just add your root domain to your domains list, confirm ownership of your root domain, and there's a simple checkbox that you can check to confirm ownership of all of your subdomains with a simple click, and do that all in one step. So you can go to your domains page now and get that going to make sure that all of your domains that are generating trusted form certificates, you've confirmed ownership of. And so now that we have that, Katie, what's the poll looking like?
The poll is looking like a straight 50-50 split between yes, I've confirmed, and why do I need that? Oh, it looks like yes is actually now going up a little bit more. And I think that people who have confirmed ownership of their domains, thank you for doing that. But the people who are like, what is important about that? we're going to dive right into it because it is really important for you to confirm ownership of your domain. So Christopher, why don't you tell them why it's important?
All right. So confirming that you own a domain is important for a lot of reasons. I'll start with a new feature that we actually released not too long ago, actually at the start of Q2, in which we actually highlight the domains that do not have a confirmed owner. And that's important because we've heard from a lot of lead buyers that essentially they want a way to help know that their sources had to go through some type of validation process. And the domain confirmation process is something that ActiveProspect asks of all lead generators so that we know who it is who's actually generating the leads, generating the certificates that go with them. And if there's any issues there, we can actually reach out to them. So number one, that's the reason why you want to make sure that you actually do this so that we know who you are and we can help you if you actually need help or if one of your buyers needs you to then help them. But also, this is a great way to just kind of help customers gauge which of their leads, like I said, have actually gone through that process and maybe more high quality leads, right? So on the Trusted Form dashboard, customers can now see which of their domains their leads are coming from that don't have a confirmed owner, and then encourage any of their vendors who are selling them leads from domains without confirmed owners to actually go and actually go through that whole process. Once again, that just makes it a lot easier to kind of troubleshoot issues and just gives you that kind of peace of mind of knowing that you actually know who it was that generated this lead and they have accountability to make sure that they did things the right way. So I definitely encourage all the people who said, to maybe go back, take a look, and hopefully go in and confirm that you own any of the domains that you are generating leads from.
Got it. So I could go in as a buyer to Trusted Form and now see this dashboard that says 56% of the certificates I've retained are from unconfirmed owners.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I did say that was only the first. There are many other things that you get from this too. You can use the auto retain feature if you confirm your domain, which makes it really simple to retain certificates for all the leads that you generate. You get to actually look at certificates for free for 3 or 90 days. So that's a big plus. If maybe you're just testing, you need to take a peek at a certificate really quick. You don't want to pay to go retain it. Just make sure you have your domain verified, and it makes that process a whole lot smoother. And we also just kind of show you some quick stats on your dashboard too, so that you can see how many leads you're generating and things like that may be useful to you.
Yeah, so there's benefits for buyers and for publishers who are actually owning the domain. So if you're a buyer who's like, I really would love some of these dashboards and some of the stuff that Christopher just said, you got to work with whoever's originating the domain in your publishers. But there's also benefits for publishers to use the auto retain feature and retain all of the certificates from those domains, or now all of the subdomains too. So that's great.
Yeah, definitely. And so that's just one of the big features for Q2 on the Trusted Form roadmap. But there's one more that I have to talk about before I pass on to someone else. And this one isn't out yet, but it's coming soon. For Trusted Form Verify, we're going to be releasing a new set of checks that users can perform to help comply with the TCPA's clear and conspicuous rule, which hopefully you've all heard of. And I saw a question out there in chat somewhere that basically says, with one-to-one consent dead and gone, do I still need retain or verify? And the answer is absolutely yes, because the TCPA is still in effect, and the clear and conspicuous rule is one of those that people kind of looked past once the one-to-one consent rule came out, but it's still there, and it has been there for a long time, and it's actually a reason that several lawsuits have been lost. You have to make sure that when you create consent language, that the consumer actually saw it, it was visible to them, it was clear that they had to give their consent in whichever way your form says that they have to give consent. And this is something that you should actually be confirming. So our new features actually create a way to confirm that the font size and the contrast ratio of the consent language just shown to a lead actually meet a minimum requirement, and also that they use an approved type of opt-in. So these are all configurations that you can actually set. So you can tell us like what your minimum requirement is for font size and for contrast ratio, what ways you want consumers to actually say that they gave consent. Do they just click the submit button? Do they have to check a box? Is it okay to pre-check boxes? All of that is included here. So this is going to really be a quick and easy way to strengthen your compliance processes and weed out some of those more risky leads. So hopefully everybody's very excited about that. I don't know. Compliance makes me really excited now.
And that'll work with the existing verified checks too, right?
Absolutely. These are all just kind of checks that you can customize and configure to your liking. You can use all of them at once. Maybe you only care about one right now. It's up to you to kind of figure out with your legal and compliance department what it is that you want to confirm is the case for all of the leads you purchase. And we're here to help you make sure that you can enforce whatever your requirements are.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Awesome. Well, I know I just talked about two huge features that were really important to lead buyers. Granted, there were some features out there for lead sellers too. But Scott, doesn't Lead Conduit have a new feature coming soon?
Yeah, thanks, Christopher. We actually have a few features for lead buyers that are coming out soon that I'm really excited about. So one of these is alerts for partners for submission docs being changed or a new partner being added to a flow. And this way, if a buyer makes a new rule in their Lead Conduit account that says, address must not be blank, the seller is going to get notified of that change via email the second they make that rule. We've had plenty of instances over the years where we've seen a customer, make a rule and then their vendor doesn't know about it until they find out a bunch of leads have been rejected. And what we kind of want to do is just make communication between partners really simple and automate as much of it as we can within the platform. Another way we're kind of doing this is via our new partner reports that we're working on. And these will be available to all customers, even our free customers. And essentially, it's going to allow them to know how many leads were sent to a partner on the platform, how many were successful, how many were rejected. And this is going to help partners sort of stay on the same page for how many leads they need to be billed for, which we know is a common pain point. The buyer says, no, I bought this many leads. The seller says, no, I think you bought that many leads. And there's a lot of back and forth. So by sort of just creating a shared source of truth for them, we're really hoping to help sort of mitigate that as much as we can. Another really cool feature that's really for both buyers and sellers is based on the connections work that we released in Lead Conduit earlier this year. This is going to be foundational for a lot of other things that we're building right now in Q2 and honestly beyond that. So first, I'll just explain connections a little bit. A connection is a formal way for you to work with another account on the platform, and that account represents a partner. And all of this stuff that we're doing here, by the way, is just about falling into our theme of building better control and smarter control for buyers and sellers to work more easily with one another. And so the buyer step is a feature I'm really excited about. That is a key feature here. And this is a really powerful tool that's going to allow you to send leads to your buyer easily and safely. You just connect your account with your partner's account, and then you go to your flow, you add a buyer step in the appropriate flow you want to send leads to them. And this will allow them to receive it in their CRM. And this way, the lead vendor isn't spending time trying to figure out, the configuration of the delivery to the buyer's CRM. The buyer CRM is owned by the buyer. They know typically best how to work with their own CRM. And this way, the buyer isn't having to share their credentials with the seller to get leads or anything like that. And if you're not already connected between the buyer and seller, you can just go to your flow, add the buyer step, and use that to connect with someone who you're not connected with already. And the thing I'm really excited about for this is you can use the buyer step to deliver leads to your partner, even if they don't have an account with ActiveProspect currently. You just send them that invite, like I mentioned, and they can create a free account, no charge to them. And in that account, they can just configure the delivery to their CRM. So that way, again, you're not spending time as a seller configuring, the integration with their CRM. The buyer can do that. And we're super excited about this one. This will be releasing very soon. There's one last feature I wanted to mention here, which is our flow templates. So some of you folks may know I've been with ActiveProspect for a number of years in a few different roles. I used to be in client success and implementation, and I spent a lot of time putting flows together for clients, a lot of time. And flow templates is a feature I wish I had back then, because essentially it's just going to allow you to create a flow with a simple click based on a bunch of pre-built flow templates that we have. These are based on things like compliance, or based on vertical, if you're home services versus insurance. We'll have pre-built flow templates. So that way you just start a flow, choose the template you want, and then your flow is basically already set up. All you have to do is add your partners and your CRM, and you are good to go. So really excited for that. Really excited about a bunch of features that we're working on, both in Q2 and beyond. Can't wait for you guys to see all of them. But with that being said, I'll pass it over to Nikki.
Awesome. Thanks, Scott. With all of these different features, we know that it can be overwhelming to get started, whether you're a new account or you've been a customer for a while and you're trying out one of these new features. It can be confusing on where to start. And like Katie mentioned earlier, one of our key themes this year is activation and empowerment. We're really focused on making it easier for everyone to get started and find value quickly on our platform. And so to help support this, we're adding a few short questions to our online registration flow to better understand who's signing up and what they're trying to achieve. And these questions are also going to be available to all of our existing non-contracted customers so that we can continue to support them as well. And so what we're going to do is we're going to take the answers to those questions, and we're going to use those to help make sure that we have the right product features enabled on your account. And we're not stopping there. Later this quarter, we're also rolling out a personalized onboarding dashboard designed to help guide you through setup based on your specific use case. So again, whether you're a new account, just trying to get started, or you're trying out a new feature, this onboarding dashboard will help get you to value faster with specific steps on how to use that feature and how to get started. So we're really excited about this upcoming tailored experience.
That's awesome. So with that, I'll share some of the stuff in Q2 that's coming up for LeadsBridge. So the first thing is we're really excited to announce that LinkedIn Conversions is live on the platform. So this is going to be available for any CRMs and ad platforms that can send data over to LinkedIn. So you can already log into LeadsBridge and set this up. Now, what does this do? If you're generating leads on LinkedIn, by using conversions, you can send information about how those leads are performing back to LinkedIn so that it improves the ad performance for you. And actually, I'll dive into one of the questions that we got in the chat, right? Talking about what are some of the big gaps in lead tech platforms. I think this is one of those areas where we have a gap, right? A lot of advertisers are not sending back information to the lead vendor or the lead source or the ad platform so that the quality of the leads improves over time. A lot of the marketing tech is used to improve the speed to follow up on leads or reject and qualify leads, but not enough data has been sent back to improve the quality of leads at the source. And so having said that and seeing the work that we're doing with LinkedIn, I'm really, really excited for Q2 for this next thing that I'm about to talk to you about, which is Performance Booster. So LeadsBridge is focusing on driving more data to improve your ad performance by taking information from your CRM about which leads are good, which leads are bad, and sending that data back to the ad platforms, especially Meta, which is where we're starting. Then the algorithm at Facebook can automatically optimize your ads, improve your ad targeting, and improve the performance and the ROI from your ad spend. That is massive. It's huge. And it really serves that gap that we're seeing in the marketplace right now. And so that performance booster is only available for certain CRMs with Meta right now. We're working to increase the amount of ad platforms and the amount of CRMs with this new experience. But you are able now to set up and configure all of this in less than 3 minutes. So it is super user-friendly. And so we are very, very proud. We've been working directly with the engineering team inside of Meta, the people that work with the algorithm in order to streamline this process and eliminate a lot of the steps that advertisers used to have to take before this came out. So super excited for this. In addition to that, we're also going to be rolling out suggestions inside of our app and via email to improve ad performance as well. we're noticing that our advertisers aren't doing everything that they can to get the best ROI from their ad spend. And we have access to the data to make those intelligent recommendations so that you can drive your ROAS up. So we figured, why not? Let's include that. Let's put it inside of the app. Let's put it via email. Let's help our advertisers to generate better performance and better leads at lower cost. So really excited about driving that performance for you guys. And so with that, I'm going to pass it on to Katie.
Whew, that was a lot of stuff, you guys. We are at our Q&A section, and there's a bunch of stuff that we can talk about. So did anybody else have anything on the question that Christian answered?
Yeah, I thought that was actually a really good one to start with. So that was, what do you feel is the biggest gap in lead tech platforms right now? When I first saw that, my first thought went to bot detection, or maybe I should in general say fraud detection, because there are multiple forms of fraud out there. And this is just a problem that plagues the entire lead generation community, the industry, everyone. Lead sellers sometimes have no idea that, there are a bunch of like fraudulent leads coming in through their site, and then they sell them. The buyer doesn't know that they're there. Maybe you call somebody, the best case scenario is they just don't pick up, and then, it's kind of a wasted lead. Worst case scenario, they sue you and say, hey, I never gave you consent to call me, and you still did. And you think that you did everything the right way, but it turns out that it was actually some fraudulent bad actor out there who submitted their data. And that is just a huge risk out there. And I think there's a lot of tools that try to address it. There's nothing that can do everything at once right now. So no, all around solution, but it's something that everybody needs to pay a lot of attention to. And honestly, I would take all the help you can get there.
Yeah, I think that's a really good answer, Christopher. I think you might have changed me away from my original answer, but I'm gonna give it anyways. So I think one of the biggest gaps between at least the platforms that Lead Conduit, historically has competed against is probably around conversions. And Christian, you touched on this with the leads bridge of how you guys want to get conversions out of the CRM and send them back to the source. Lead Conduit's had some version of this functionality for a while. And I didn't mention it earlier, but it's something we're working on improving right now as well to improve that process. But the point of these platforms is to make sure you are only buying the best leads and that you're getting as much out of them as you can. You're, maximizing your ROI. And we know our platforms do that. Every case study we ever did with the customer has shown us that. But, by having automated conversion feedback, sort of brought back into a platform from a CRM and optionally sent back to the source of the lead, we can automate so much of that. And, for us selfishly, it allows us to just write in the platform, show you the ROI of the savings with what you're using with us. But also it, can help you identify what are some other things I should be doing? What are some other leads I should be maybe spending a little bit more on or trying to reject more, right? Like Trusted Forms has all these great insights that it can tell you about lead, what originating domain did it have, what was their typing speed, right? Like really in the weeds stuff. And, by getting conversions back into the platform, we can much more clearly tell you what are the levers you should be pulling with that data. So I think that's one. And, it's one that anyone that we're competitive with is doing to some extent. The challenge is it's just one of those things you have to build CRM by CRM to pull information out and back in. And, it's a huge gap, for everyone, I think, right now. And that's why, Christian's talking about it. My team's working on improving it. And I think that's just a really, really big one. But again, Christopher might have swayed me with bot detection. I'm going to think on that some more.
I'll throw one more answer into the mix. Scott, you started to hit on this with buyer step. But I think one gap that we're putting a lot of focus on right now is making it easier to work with your connections. We know when you're buying and you're selling leads, there's already this partnership relationship that you have outside of the app, but trying to think of ways that we can bring it into the app to make everyone's lives easier, both on the buyer side and the seller side. How do we bring meaning to those partnerships? How do we make your existing workflows within the platform even easier with those connections? So that's something, again, with the buyer step, we've already been making big steps towards, and we're going to continue working on. to help support both buyers and sellers.
I couldn't agree more. You guys stole them right out of my mouth, so thanks. There's another question in here around Trusted Form API docs. Christopher, do you want to take this one?
Yeah, definitely. I was eyeing that one myself.
Yeah.
All right. So for anyone who can't see, the question is, do you have updated API docs that include the new stuff for Trusted Form Certificate API? And the answer is absolutely yes. As we release new features, we always update the API docs accordingly. The API was actually designed in a way such that we can add new features without causing any problems with the existing features that users may be using. So if you're currently using, retain or verify, when we add a new feature to it, that new feature will be turned off by default, and you have to actually do something to enable it. So for example, with the new compliance checks that I was talking about, the new font size check and contrast ratio check, etc., all of those, if you just continue using the verify API as it is right now, they won't be turned on initially. And by the way, they haven't launched yet, so you have to wait still. But once they do launch, you actually have to either modify the API request that you're making to turn them on, or, and one of the really cool things that I guess I forgot to point out as I was talking about it, is that now you can actually adjust it within the Trusted Form application itself. So you don't have to be an engineer who knows how to work with API calls. You can actually just go inside of the Trusted Form web app and check a box that says, I want to use the font size check and I want to use the contrast ratio check. And that'll make it so that we know anytime you make the API call that you want to use those checks, and we're going to just turn them on unless somebody who is directly using the API overrides that somehow. So yeah, sorry, long answer, but yes, we absolutely updated the API docs.
Thank you. It's always good to talk about the API docs. The other thing I wanted to talk about that I'm seeing in our chat is the difference between first party and third party as it relates to originating domain. And so, Christopher, would you explain the difference between first party and third party? And then I'll talk a little bit about the contracting side of it.
Yeah, happy to. So in general, first party means that it's something that you actually generated, you own it. So a first party lead means that it came from a website you own. And the only time we know if you own the website is if you confirm that you are the owner. So you go through that process that Nikki was talking about before. Once you do that, then any certificate that you retain or act on, we know that that is a first party certificate and we'll treat it as such. And of course, with that definition, third party is just anything that does not fall in that first bucket. So these are certificates that you don't own. If it was one that you bought from somebody else because somebody else runs and operates that website, you buy that lead, that's now a third party lead.
Got it. And so ownership really defines something as first or third party. So it's a really critical step in that distinction. And the call out here for the contracted customers is maybe check with your CSM before you start verifying ownership of all of your domains, because there are different allocation and price buckets for both of those. So just a call out to make sure to stay in touch with your CSM around that. Awesome. Let's keep looking through the questions, y'all. Is anybody ready to answer one?
Yeah, I think I see one in there about if lead conduit can protect for compliance without a trusted form. And for a second, I paused on this one because I think there's like a 15-20% chance our CEO threw that in that as a curveball. But I'm going to answer it anyways. So the best way to be compliant, we strongly believe, is using trusted form. That being said, if you want to use sort of the distinguished competitions product, you can use that very easily within lead conduit as well. Lead conduit will allow you to integrate with pretty much any REST or SOAP API, and we have pre-built integrations with all the major services, including Drenaya, on the platform. So we do make that easy if you have other compliance tools that you'd like to use. But we strongly recommend trusted form. We do believe that it is the highest standard of consent in the industry. So the answer is yes, but we're going to bug you about trusted form as well.
Yeah, I'm going to actually tack on to that. I love that you were talking about trusted form because I'm going to highlight lead Conduit too, just more still, because compliance is a super tricky thing, right? Like, how do you actually know when you're being compliant? And also, let me add that a lot of times when people say they want to be compliant, what they really mean is they want to be protected, right? So Lead Conduit has so many add-ons that you can use to help yourself be protected. Things like the litigator scrub, maybe querying the R&D, reassigned numbers database if you're reaching out to age leads, things to make sure that you're contacting the right party, to validate emails and phones. There's so much that Lead Conduit does to actually contribute to that process too, that I'm not going to say you can be compliant without Trusted Form, because of course, yes, like Scott was saying, you do need Trusted Form, but there's so much power available in Lead Conduit too. So they complement each other and help you to ultimately become compliant.
Yeah, such a good point, Christopher. And a lot of these services we offer in the platform are what we call our add-ons. And these are services you can just plug and play. You don't need to go out and contract with these companies if you want to use a known litigator scrub or anything like that. We make it super easy for you to use different compliance tools outside of just, verifying documented written consent with a tool like Trusted Form. And for those who have been around for a while may know that Christopher actually was the product owner of those integrations and actually helped build them. So thank you, Christopher, for that.
And so in Lead Conduit, I can use all of the Trusted Form products, right?
That is correct. Yep, all of them. All of them are available, and we make it super easy to use them. The best experience of using Trusted Form is in Lead Conduit.
Yeah. Let's give a couple examples of what we could do. Like maybe we use an originating domain, because we've been talking about that one a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm going to go back to the conversions example, right? So again, Lead Conduit supports conversions now, but we're working on making it easier to programmatically pull them out of CRMs. But if you have your conversions and you're also using the Insights product to append the originating domain, as Katie was mentioning there, we've done this study with multiple clients in the past over the years, where we'll look at what leads are converting and which ones aren't, and then look based on the originating domain, we can tell you should stop buying leads from this site. You need to start buying more leads from that site. And we've seen really tremendous results for our customers who have done that. A similar one, I won't name the customers, but one I thought was super interesting a few years ago when I was in a client success role. I don't remember. But the study was done with the client where we looked at the device that was used to fill out the form. And this customer was particularly selling their product to low-income users. And I don't want to insult anyone for their smartphone of choice, but what we found for them was that customers using an iOS were less likely to be their ideal customer, and customers using Android were much more likely to be. And we kind of saw a similar thing in the inverse with another customer who was like trying to sell to the top 1% or something like that, where they're more likely to want an iOS. And no disrespect to Android, in a lot of ways it's better, but just really interesting stuff that we can find out with that data right now. And those are always super exciting studies to do.
Thanks, Scott. Oh yeah, go ahead, Christian. We got a question around AI, and I'm handing it over.
So at ActiveProspect, we're always looking at what we can do. On the LeadsBridge side, we have implemented AI to auto map fields in order to make it easier for users to set up their bridges, right? So one of the questions is around our use of AI, and are we going to implement more of it? We're looking for ways that we can use it and experimenting with it. But we have already started on the LeadsBridge side to implement it in order to streamline the customer experience, especially on the self-service side, where customers are signing up on their own and setting things up on their own. This really helps to make things easier and helps to reach value and help people to succeed faster. So definitely looking into it.
Yeah, and I'll add that, we're looking into it everywhere, but I'm actually going to turn the question around too, because to me, AI can be really useful to help with any kind of like task that you find mundane, repetitive, or just something that, is hard for you to do. So I would love to hear from the people. What do you think that we could use AI for to actually help you all, do your jobs, find leads that are more likely to perform and things like that? But while you're thinking about that, I'll say on the Trusted Form side, First of all, we already use AI actually, which a lot of people don't know. When we detect consent language that is present on a page, we're actually using a machine learning model that tries to figure out where the consent language is on that actual page. Now, of course, with anything that you do with AI, it can work well. Sometimes maybe it doesn't work so well, which is why we also have the manual option for publishers to tell us where that consent language actually is. But using AI to find that has helped a lot of customers who maybe their publishers haven't put on those tags yet. And it makes it a lot easier to figure out what it is that you're actually looking for. And we're going to continue using that as we go along, especially with the management of consent language. Earlier, we kind of showed off how we're now trying to group similar consent languages together so that you don't have to necessarily look at each and every single one. I'm pretty sure AI is going to be a big part of that to make sure that, we can make it convenient for you to figure out which ones are really the same consent language minus a couple of, small dynamic changes, and then actually make those processes to approve and reject them even easier.
Thank you. Okay, that kind of concludes our Q&A section. I'm going to do our wrap up now as we're approaching the top of the hour. So if you would like to engage with the product team in any way, we're going to shoot out a poll here because we always want to hear from you. Product feedback not only helps us shape our individual details, but it also helps shape the vision of where we're going with our roadmap. So we always want to hear from you about your experience. And so the question for the poll is, do you want to talk to ActiveProspect's product team about your experience? And the answers are, heck yeah, I could talk about this all day. The second one is, no, thank you. This was enough. And then the third one is, no, thanks, but I would love to receive a demo of the products. And so based on the polls here, and so this information is going to, if you are on the heck yeah bucket, we will be reaching out and hopefully participating with you with some research interviews or really just talking about your experience. No thanks, we will respectfully not be reaching out to you, so that's fine. And then for the demos, same thing, we'll be reaching out. So thank you for participating in that poll. If you want to give feedback, we have a couple other ways to do it. And so we're going to link in the chat here to our product feature requests. And so if you'd like to not actually talk to us on the phone, but you have ideas, there's a way to just submit a request to us. And so that's going in the chat now. And we also have a what's new page that will also be on the chat. So if you just want to follow along on what's going on and what's new, there's a what's new page that we're posting here. You can also access that in the app, in the notification center, and it's going to always tell you what the latest and greatest is. So there's a bunch of ways to engage with us, but if you ever have feedback, we would love to hear from you. We got one more poll, everybody, and then we are good. So this last one is, how useful did you find this webinar? Very useful, somewhat useful, could use improvement. As a product team, we are always improving and always open to feedback. So thank you for participating there. And yeah, we're getting very useful across the board. There's always room for improvement, but thank you very much. Okay, so closing remarks here. So this is our springtime product webinar. We're going to be doing these seasonally. So the next one is our summer webinar. And so that one is July 23rd. We're going to post the link in the chat if you want to register now and not have to integrate it into your summertime scheduling plans. It'll already be on your calendar. So that one should be there and you can sign up now. And I just wanted to say thank you to the product team for being here and talking about all this stuff and also just building some really cool things that are providing value all the time. So thank you. And then thanks to the participants who came and listened to us chat. And we really appreciate the participation across the board. Thanks, everybody. Bye.